Well everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and take a look at the Google Pixel 7 and compare it against the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE and see which specific phone you should go and pick up. Now if you want to pick up either one of these, the links will be down in the description. You can get them from there, you can help support the channel at the same time. Now starting off with the price tag between these two, I will probably tell you these two phones are probably going neck and neck within each other. So the S21 FE has been out for a little bit of time now, but you can buy these things on Amazon for I think less than $350. So that is pretty cheap price tag. The Pixel 7 just came out, but if you give it a few months, it's probably also going to go down in that price tag as well. And the Pixel 7 is retailing for $599, so brand new the S21 FE and the Pixel 7 are around the same price, but because the S21 FE has been out for a longer period of time, you can buy it in the used market for a little bit cheaper, so that's probably a thing to keep in mind. Now starting off with the outside, the S21 FE that came out earlier this year has a 6.4-inch dynamic AMOLED display, it's 1080p, and it's a pretty good panel. It's 120Hz hole punch display, and I think this phone overall is a pretty good looking phone. It's not an ugly phone, it looks very good. There are some differences between these two phones for sure, but I think the panel, Samsung makes really good panels, and this is no exception. On the Google Pixel 7, we have a 6.3-inch AMOLED display. It's a 1080p panel as well, so it's a little tiny bit smaller, but it's a 90Hz panel on this specific phone. So that's another really big thing to keep in mind here. I kind of do feel like there's not that big of a difference between these two. I think the Pixel 7 display gets brighter, but the Galaxy S21 FE's display has a higher refresh rate. So you're kind of getting like a little trade-off. I will say though, 90Hz and 120Hz are very good. I love 120Hz, but 90Hz is still very good for the most part as well. But I might just say the S21 FE probably has a better display here. Now both of them have fingerprint sensors in the display, both of them have USB Type-C ports, and on the back we have a very different type of setup. So the Google Pixel 7 has a dual camera setup on the back with a full-on glass back, where the Galaxy S21 FE has a triple camera setup on the top left corner with a plastic back. Now, if you're talking about, premiumness and the way the phone feels, the Google Pixel 7 feels more like a flagship phone. It feels more like a $1,000 phone than the Galaxy S21 FE. I feel like the plastic back, we're kind of used to it, and I don't think it's that big of a, detrimental feature anymore like it used to be like on the S20 FE and the S21, but I still would like to have seen a glass back. I like how it's a frosted plastic back, and also some people actually may prefer it. You're going to put a case on your phone, and it's one less thing to break if you drop your phone that's not going to crack. But if you want a more premium feeling phone, the Google Pixel 7 is probably going to be the best way here. So if we're talking about, price per dollar ratio or whatever, you're going to get a better feeling phone from the value that you're spending on the Pixel 7 than you are going to be getting on the S21 FE. But that doesn't cover it all. There's still a lot of overlapping features. Both of them have wireless charging. Both of them have reverse wireless charging, which is amazing. Both of them have IP certification, which is great. So these things still are very durable. They still have a lot of features for sure. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. Now in terms of the camera setup, like I said before, a little bit of a difference between these two. So on the Pixel 7, we have a dual camera setup, a 50 megapixel wide angle lens, and then a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. On the front, we have a 10.8 megapixel ultra wide camera. With the Samsung Galaxy S21 FE, we have a 12 megapixel wide angle camera, 8 megapixel telephoto lens, then a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. And on the front we have a 32 megapixel wide angle lens. Now both these phones can do 4K at 60 on the front and the back, which is a really nice touch. So having that type of, capability I think is really awesome. Now when it comes down to the actual, capability between these two cameras, starting off with the Pixel 7, I guess we have to start here. This is, I think, a pretty good camera, I think it's pretty good for the most part. We now have cinematic mode within this phone too, which is really cool. And the photos and videos I've been able to take from it are pretty good, I think they hold up very, very well. I think the iPhones, this year, like the iPhone 14s are overall a better camera, but I do think the Pixel 7 has more room to grow. I think with all the software updates and everything Google's going to throw on this phone, I think it's going to really improve in terms of the, image it is. But that camera UI is still not my favorite, and there's still not that many features built within that camera UI. On the S21 FE though, it's a completely different story. This one kind of gives me more of an impression that it is a more flagship type of camera. This thing has that additional telephoto lens, which is really nice. But on top of that, you have, I just think a way higher quality lens on the S21 FE than on the Pixel 7. And from my experience, Samsung, like I said, just has such great capability within their cameras. And the issue I have with the Pixel 7 is kind of the lack of features. The S21 FE has tons and tons of features built within that camera, and that is one thing that I love about that phone. There's just so many little tiny features that you can use. So if you're not really planning on doing anything crazy, the Pixel 7 is going to be more than enough for you. But if you want to take advantage of all those cool features, the S21 FE has tons of features built in. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there. Now in terms of the software and longevity and the experience of the software, both of them are Android, but you do have one UI on Samsung. You have, stock Android on Pixel 7. I don't know if there's one that's the clear winner here. Personally, I do like the Pixel 7. I like stock Android, but with, one UI, there are tons of features built in, just like with the camera UI. So there's still pros and cons between both. I do like the functionality and capability behind one UI, but I've always had a really good experience with stock Android. So on top of that, the software longevity might go for the Pixel 7 here, because if you remember, the Galaxy S21 FE has the same chipset as the S21 from last year. So although it is kind of a newer phone, it's still having the older chipset. So it's probably going to last as long as the S21, which is going to be, about over a year old as of this point. So I'll say kind of up to you, but that kind of covers it up there. Now in terms of performance, this is kind of another big thing. With the S21 FE, we have that Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 chipset inside of it with 6 gigs of RAM on the base model, and it does go up to 8 gigabytes of RAM. Where the Pixel 7, on the other hand, has that new Google Tensor G2 chipset with 8 gigabytes of RAM built in with that, and has 8 gigabytes of RAM built inside of it. Now, I don't know if there's a clear winner here in the performance segment, but this is what I'll tell you. From my experience, the S21 FE was a very fast phone, and even before that, the S21 from last year was a really fast phone as well. From everything from app opening to playing games like Genshin Impact, to playing Call of Duty Mobile, to playing emulated games, that phone did it all. And since this phone has the same chipset, it's pretty much not that big of a difference. I mean, it's still a very, very good performing phone on the S21 FE. But I will say, the Pixel 7, although it's still kind of glitchy and it's still not that fast right now, at least compared to the Pixel 6, it still is, I think, having a long runway ahead of it. Meaning, the Pixel 7, I think, because it just came out, there can be lots of bugs, lots of glitches, and I'm not trying to make too many excuses for it, but I do think Google is going to spend a bunch of money and a bunch of their resources in basically improving the software longevity on the Pixel 7, but on top of that, they're going to improve that, performance and just pretty much everything within the Pixel 7 as well. So I think right now the Pixel 7, the glitchiness and everything could be due to because it's a brand new phone, but I would be curious to see how that phone holds up maybe in the next 3-4 months, and then compare it again to all these phones. But I do think as of right now, the S21 FE is probably going to give you a more predictable experience. You can buy that phone, you can use it, and you're going to be getting a fast phone. And the Pixel 7, if you buy it right now, you might have to go through some bugs here and there before it ends up actually becoming a stable experience. But if you're watching this comparison 4 or 5 months after the Pixel 7 release, then by all means, the Pixel 7 is probably stable by now, and you should be good to go. So that kind of covers it up in the performance segment and some of my thoughts. Now, battery life wise, the S21 FE has a 4,500 mAh battery. The Pixel 7 has a 4,355 mAh battery. And in this specific case, I kind of do think that the Pixel 7 has or more potential of having better battery life in the future. But Samsung's have kind of decent battery life on the S21 FE when that phone came out. So again, I don't think there's a clear winner here, but I would probably say that it might be a tie, but I wouldn't pick up one phone over the other just based off the battery life. So in terms of that covers it up there. And to kind of sum up this comparison, I think both these phones are great. I think both these phones have a ton of capability, but if I had to go and kind of pick one, I might just end up buying, see, this one is tough because I like stock Android and I like that type of experience, but the S21 FE is pretty much more of the flagship, I feel like, so it is what it is. We're going to have to kind of see what happens in the future. But I think in this specific point, the Google Pixel 7 might be the better value per dollar, might be the better deal. But I think the S21 FE is still a very, very good phone. And that also might be a better deal for most people out there too. So it's almost like a tie in my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.